Hello and welcome back to another YouTube video. Hi, I'm Speeder. Okay, today's date is November 7th, 2021. I have just completed filming my episode 4 of the side character tournament, Tam versus Biana, where Biana won and will be facing off against Annabeth in the second round. And before that was 2 rounds. One was Luna versus Lynn, where Lynn won, and the second one was Dex Disney from Creepy Velocities versus Fred Weasley from Harry Potter. Dex won. So it looks like Lynn and Dex will be facing off in the second round. And for this one, it is Imogen from The Ascendants versus Keefe Sencen from Keeper Velocities. Looks like we have 4 rounds remaining in the first round. So yeah, 4 pairings left. This video will contain spoilers for the first 4 books of The Ascendants. I have not read book 5, even though it did come out like a week ago or something. I haven't read it yet. And then it will also contain spoilers for books 1 through 8.5 of Keeper Velocities. So yeah. Few pieces of news. I'm not 100% certain when this one will come out, but I think it's gonna be in 5 weeks. So sometime in December, I think, but definitely before December 25th, so I can give these announcements once again. At this point in time, which is in 5 days for me, but when I post this, I should have already posted the 1 year on YouTube video for Keeper the Books. But coming up for Keeper the Games and Keeper the Movies, I will have a 1 year special for Keeper the Games that will go over my favorite video games of all time, and then one that goes from Keeper the Movies that goes over my favorite movies and a bunch of my favorite TV shows of all time. If you would like to see some reviews from those TV shows and movies, just let me know in the comments of that video on January 3rd when that one will come out. Just let me know, because I would love to hear if you would like to hear reviews on any of those. Some of them I already plan to do reviews on. Some of them I haven't really thought about it. But yeah, that's the news. Also, in a few months from now, and also in a few months from when this is posted, my mic on the Keep the Games channel should have the correct settings on it, because it was set for my brother's voice for the first few months, and his voice is a lot deeper than mine, so it was not good quality at all. For the voice, but it was really good quality for the video because, you know, it's a capture card. But I apologize for that. But in a few months from now, it will have my correct voice. It still isn't perfect, but it's much better. But yeah. So if you've not seen one of these side character tournament videos before, well, first of all, I suggest you watch the other ones. But basically, what I do is I go over 4 different categories for each character individually first, and then I compare them to give 1 point for each category, and the person with more points will proceed to the next round. And if it is a tie, since it's 4 categories, then I will go over the facts again and decide which one is even just slightly better. So these 4 categories are the importance to the story. So how important is this side character to the story? Because even though they are a side character, they should still be at least some importance, even if they aren't the main character. Their relationship with the main character, whether this is friendship, more than friendship, rivalry, whatever. How good is their relationship with the main character? How good is the friendship? How good is the rivalry? How well written is it? And the number 3 is, so the third is the realisticness of the character. So how realistic is the character's personality and their emotions, all that. And then finally the last one is my own personal preference. Which character do I personally like better, which has been the tiebreaker of several videos, but you know. Okay, let us get into it. So let's start out with Imogen. Okay, importance to the story. Imogen is in all books 1 through 4 of the Ascendants, and obviously she is the love interest of our main character, Jaren, who I love. He's one of my favorite characters of all time. If you've seen the main character tournament I did, which I just finished posting 2 days ago, he got 2nd place, just barely beat by Percy Jackson from Percy Jackson and the Olympians and Heroes of Olympus. But yeah, so she is Jaren's love interest, and she is obviously very important to the story. She is the motivation of several of Jaren's adventures, and when he's out on those adventures, even when she wasn't the motivation, she kind of motivates him or affects his decisions. So she is very important in that sense, and also, you know, she's the love interest to the main character. I think that makes her pretty important. But yeah, relationship with the main character, obviously she has the more than friendship thing, and I think that they have a good relationship. I think that Jaren can sometimes be a little bit too much like a hero sometimes, and wants her to not be with him, just because, I want to keep you safe, which makes sense, but it can be bothersome. So they have a good relationship, just sometimes Jaren can be a little annoying. But they do have a good relationship overall, and I love them. As for realisticness, I think she's a pretty realistic character. She is pretty stubborn, I would say, and she is pretty good at standing up to Jaren when he's being stupid. She is very brave, and she definitely has a realistic personality. She is a realistic character. She's an important character. I would almost call her one of the side main characters, as well as Keefe. So let's move on to Keefe, and this is a shorter video. But Keefe is probably, if not my favorite character in Keeper of the Lost City, he's one of my favorites. He is in all of the books. In fact, he actually has his own perspective chapters in 8.5, because him and Sophie share the chapter perspectives, just because we needed to see Keefe's perspective for that book to make sense. He also has a few of his own short stories. I would call him the secondary main character, if not just another main character. But since Sophie is entitled to the title of main character, I will give him the side main character title. He is very important to the story. He's on a bunch of missions. He is friends with Sophie, if not more. And yeah, I would say he's very important to the story. And he's always going to stand by Sophie. That's great. On to relationship with the main character. Keefe, like I said, very loyal to Sophie. Always trying to help her. Obviously, he likes her. If you've read any of the short stories or read any of the books past number 3, then you know this. Unless you are as oblivious as Sophie. Or just can't pick on social things, but, you know, that's fine. Right. He is also constantly worried about Sophie, constantly trying to help Sophie, but he also has his own issues. And so Sophie's always trying to help Keefe, and they're just always trying to help each other. They both have been through a lot together, too. And I think that they have a very strong relationship, and I really am worrying about Sophie's reaction to Keefe's letter, which made me hit something. I think I punched a wall when I read that. curse you, Keefe Sencen. More like curse you, Shannon Messenger. No, I'm sorry, I love you. But overall, I think he has a good relationship with Sophie. There are a few rocky bits here and there, especially in book 5. But overall, I think they have a good relationship. As for realisticness, I think Keefe is a very realistic, very real character. He is the product of his parents and a lot of abuse and all that. He struggles with a lot of different problems, very real problems, and I think that he has some very real emotions that are unfortunately very common for a lot of people. I mean, obviously he has some things that some people will never have, which is like, his mom is a part of a deadly secret organization that's trying to kill his best friends. Yeah. You can see his guilt and all of that, and it really shines through with him. He has a lot of emotions that are very understandable, very realistic. So I think that Keefe is a very realistic character. Not to mention his snarkiness, which we all, at least I love. Love a snarky character. And also, I forgot to mention his use of humor to escape the real world. I'm kind of tempted to do like a analysis video of Keefe after the series ends or something. I don't know. But anyways, I'm not really ready for the series to end, but I know it will in a few years, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, every series has to come to an end eventually. If it didn't, I'd be kind of worried. But yeah. Comparison time. Okay. Importance to the story. Dang, this is a hard one. Which one of these guys, who are both technically basically the love interest of the main character, if one main character completely denies it, but we all know it. Unless you're a Sophie shipper. I am not a Sophie shipper. But points to the story. I'm gonna go with Keefe here, because I feel like he is basically another main character. He's super important to the story. In fact, he has his own perspectives in actual chapters, in actual book. So I feel bad saying this, but I feel like Keefe is just slightly more important to the story. As for relationship with the main character, again, these two are hard. I already have the realisticness and personal preference one figured out, but these first two are difficult. So I feel like they're pretty equal on both importance to the story and relationship with the main character. I'm actually gonna give this one to Imogen, because I feel like her relationship with Jaren becomes a lot more healthy, and I'm hoping the same thing will happen with Sophie and Keefe eventually. I think they do have a healthy relationship overall, but sometimes it can be a little bit unhealthy at times, and so I'm just barely by a little smidge, I'm giving this point to Imogen. As for realisticness, I am automatically giving this one to Keefe, because I think he's a very realistic, very important character who's very realistic, like has a lot of very understandable emotions, and is a product of his environment. And of course, my own personal preference obviously goes to Keefe. I love Keefe. He's great, and a very realistic character. So it looks like the winner of this round of the side character tournament is Keefe Sencen. And the next round will be Hermione Granger from Harry Potter versus Leo Valdez from Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Heroes of Olympus, and yeah. I guess also Trials of Follow Book 1, but he's not really in that one very much. But yeah, that's that. Looks like we have 3 more rounds in the first round, and we'll see where this goes from here. That is all I have for today for you guys. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.